This week, the griddle has taken over the RV industry over the last 5 years. Everybody's traveling with one. We're going to talk about our history with the griddle and whether we like it, whether we don't, what we like to cook on a griddle, and some great griddling tips from one of the foremost experts in the grill and barbecue world. This is RV Miles. Chances are you've seen them on the road. That's because Blue Ox designs and manufactures the best towing products in the industry. Just look around. You'll find them on highways and campgrounds and anywhere you find people traveling in the great outdoors. From award-winning tow bars and base plates to a full line of weight distribution hitches, adjustable ball mounts, and now they have fifth wheel hitches too. With Blue Ox, towing doesn't have to be a drag. Visit blueox.com for more information. More in a moment, but first, this episode is sponsored by RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding. Get a real mattress for your RV instead of the cheap piece of foam that it came with at RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding. They sell real mattresses in all the odd sizes RVs require, like short kings, Olympic queens, odd bunk sizes, different thicknesses, and more. Their mattresses are toxin-free, made in their factory in Arizona, and shipped to you vacuum-sealed wherever you are. You just unwrap them and let them expand. They have a 120-night sleep trial, free shipping, and a limited lifetime warranty. But the best part is the RV Miles community gets 30% off, the best deal they ever offer, any day of the year with code RVMiles at rvmattress.com/RVMiles. That's rvmattress.com/RVMiles with code RVMiles at checkout for 30% off. Welcome to episode number 375 of RV Miles. I'm Jason.
And I'm Abby. And we are two RVers who, along with our three boys, have been crisscrossing all over North America on one epic road trip since 2016. Here at RV Miles, we talk all things RV and outdoors, from industry news to travel destinations, griddles, and a whole lot more.
This is the second to last of our August mini episodes, sort of half the length of our normal episodes. So we're almost to the end of this, but it's been really great to be able to do these so that we could focus on a few things that we needed to focus on, including some travels here in the month of August. So if you like the longer ones, you're almost there. If you don't like the longer ones, you've
only
almost
got one
done.
left. Don't know what to tell you. Watch it in segments.
Today, we're going to talk about griddles. Griddles, like the Blackstone, have really taken over the whole campground vibe, right? There's cooking breakfasts on them. The smell of bacon at a campground is usually not anymore on a gas grill. It's usually on a gas griddle, and RVs are coming with them attached to them, all sorts of stuff like that. So we're going to share some of our history griddling, some of the stuff we like to make on a griddle. But we're also going to talk about an experience that I just had. I got to go up to the Weber Grill headquarters. It's in the Chicago suburbs, so it's not too far from us here in Rock Island. And I got to meet all the great folks at Weber and try out their line of griddles and meet Steven Raichlen, who is sort of a hero of mine. He is the writer of the Barbecue Bible. He has a whole lot of books on barbecuing and grilling, and he used to have a PBS TV show. He's had a couple of them, actually, that I used to watch. And now he has a book on griddling out. So he was there, and we got to cook 4 of his recipes. I'm going to share one of those with you and some really cool, interesting tips about griddling that you might not have known about.
But first, what is it about the griddle that we all love so much? So really quick, if you don't know what a griddle is, welcome to 2017. We're glad you're here. So instead of a grill where you've got the grate and, sometimes you're dealing with charcoal, or you're dealing with, maybe if you're a real purist, you're dealing with wood or pellets or things. Instead of the grate, you have a flat metal surface.
Yeah, it's like what a diner would cook your eggs and hash browns and
slinging
stuff
bacon
on.
and hash on,
Exactly.
right? So,
and in fact, like one of the things that, Stephen gave a little talk at the beginning of this whole thing. And one of the things he talked about was sort of the great griddle cultures. Like griddling has been around forever. And a lot of us, we enter into this world through cooking breakfast. We're going to cook pancakes. We're going to cook eggs and bacon. But obviously teppanyaki has been around forever. In Spain, they've got the big round planchas, which is the origin of tapas, really. And then we have the American diner culture, and those are really the big three griddle cultures out there. And of course, I'm sure there are other people, but those are the real strong griddle cultures. And there's lots and lots and lots of recipes that you can imagine in those worlds. But also, griddles are just great for anything that you'd cook in a frying pan.
Yeah. So one of the first things that we purchased when we got on the road as full-time RVers back in 2016, 2017 was we purchased a Blackstone. So that's probably
No, we didn't have that. We didn't have the Blackstone until later. Actually, Blackstones didn't get super famous till later, but we did have a griddle. Because remember, what we had first was
What
that
did we have
Coleman road trip grill. So it was
Oh,
like the
right.
two-sided surfaces that had the grill surface on one side and a griddle surface on the other side. They were swappable. You could take them out.
Oh, I
And
revisionist history that's so
you did,
hard
but
to forget all
we
about that
hated that
Coleman.
thing.
It is all coming back to me now. Shoving that Coleman into
I
the
think they've
back of
improved
that
them over the
bus.
years, but we did not like that one.
We were traumatized in the beginning of our RV life by this particular girl that we had, and we soon traded it out
Yeah, but
in 2017-ish.
somewhere whenever Blackstones really got really popular.
Yeah, maybe 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
We're kind of late to bandwagons, though, and I'm sure you all know that by now. I didn't listen to Hamilton for 3 years. I will say, though, this is totally off topic. I did grab a bandwagon that is very popular right now. I just watched K-pop Demon Hunters with my 15-year-old.
Oh my.
And I cannot get these songs out of my head. They're stuck in my head. Anyway, not about griddles. So we came out a little bit late, I think, to the griddle popularity. So I'll go ahead and we'll just say 2018 just to be on the safe side.
Sure.
And we started off with, there's varying sizes of griddles.
Yeah.
And we started off with the more smaller, modest tabletop one. We had the 20-inch.
The 17-inch was our first one.
Or 17. That's
so
fine too.
I
I need to go away from this conversation, clearly.
Blackstone, they were sort of the ones that really got the market going for this, right? And Blackstone, by the way, is now owned by Weber. And Blackstone had sort of the main travel ones, the tabletop ones would be the 17-inch and the 22-inch. And we first bought the 17-inch one.
Yes.
And I think we felt like that one was a little small. And then we upgraded to the 22-inch one.
And did we feel like that one was maybe a little...
And maybe we felt that, like,
big?
it seems like it's just a few more
Goldilocks.
inches, but it's a wild difference. And then we also had a even smaller one. It was probably 17 inches wide. But this is one of my annoyances is the way they measure these things. They just measure the width and not the depth. And the one that we had that came with the ibex to attach to the side of the ibex had a little sort of rail thing that you could attach to the side of the ibex was, I think, 17 inches wide as well. But it was nowhere near as deep as our 17-inch.
And it was not a Blackstone.
Yeah.
So we've had some tabletop versions. We've had a griddle that will attach to the side of the ibex. And we are currently traveling with...
It's a 22-inch Blackstone that is attached to a portable base. So it's got wheels on one end and it sort of collapses down and you can push it around. And I'll get into some of the annoyances with some of the different ones we've had.
And I will say,
in a minute, but there are some annoyances.
I will say our reason really quick for going with that one as opposed to just getting another tabletop 22 is that there is a little bit of a trend these days. And I think all of you have probably encountered that where you can't always be guaranteed that when you get to your campsite, you're actually going to have a picnic table anymore.
Yeah.
And we noticed that was happening a lot to us. Or you want to be off grid, right? You want to be out and about. As we were traveling through Canada and into Alaska and Baja, we did not have picnic tables. We did not have tables in which we wanted to set a griddle on top of. So something like this that becomes a little bit more portable, becomes a little bit more flexible was what we wanted to do in order to continue to have the griddle. Now, we are going to talk some cons or some annoyances later, but this is it does take up quite a bit more space.
It does. It
Than
does.
the one that, just sits right on the tabletop. So these are all some pros and cons. So this has kind of been our experience with griddles over the last 7 years. What we love about them is their flexibility, the ability to cook outside, how easy it is to clean them up, how easy it is to cook for a large group of people. We're a family of 5, and over the years, there's probably a reason why we went from the 17 to the 22.
Yeah.
And that's because the boys were growing and we were making more food more often.
It really comes down to like,
Like,
can you cook one thing at a time on it or 2 things at a time on it?
yes.
And our kids rarely ever eat the same thing that we do.
No.
So as
Short
lots of
order
people that have kids we're short order cooks.
Mhm.
And a griddle is really nice to throw a couple quesadillas on for the kids and then make a real meal for ourselves, right?
And quesadillas are a real meal. Okay, they're a real meal.
the ones our kids have, maybe not. Like
Well,
if you put some stuff in them, it'd be great.
Hey, listen, sometimes I crave a really good just cheese quesadilla if you've got some really good cheese in it. But that's the nice thing about them is you
But-
can be making something on one side while
Yeah,
you're making
and-
something. You've got eggs going on one side, bacon going on another, or you've got rice going on one side with some protein and veggies on another that you're going to turn into a nice big stir fry. There's a lot of like just flexibility that comes with having the griddle that we really, really gravitate
and
to.
often without having to wash a lot of pots and pans, because you're just using one surface that you just sort of wipe down and you get wet and clean off afterwards, or without smelling up or heating up the inside of the RV.
Yeah, and we all know how I feel about
You
when you
have
bust out that cast iron.
you
in
don't
the-
love smells.
Not a fan of like when you bust out the cast iron in the small
There
space.
are a lot of people that never cook inside their RV because they really don't like the smells.
Well, to be fair, they do cling to the smells. Will cling.
I don't have an
You
issue
know,
with that.
if
I
you-
mean, yeah.
Get a high heat going in there and you get you're wanting to sear something, or you really got to get some oil going in order to cook. That is just an immediate saturation of the entire small space. If you are not in a position where you can have all the windows and doors open and you've got a nice, breeze going through to kind of sort of get all those smells out. And then the next day you go in and you're like, oh man, it just smells like day old bacon in here. And that's not a good smell. Bacon in the moment smells great. Bacon the next day, not so much.
What I've learned is some of us have more sensitive noses than others.
And we are valid too. So
But-
anyway.
Some of the things that we really love to cook on a griddle, we love to do fried rice.
Oh, yes.
Anything where you've got lots of small stuff cooked together. What you might order at a restaurant that's a skillet meal, or you might make like sort of a tray bake meal. We used to do lots of stuff in the oven that would be like mixed vegetables and chopped up sausage. That kind of stuff is great to do on a griddle.
So to me, if you can take, let's say, a sheet pan meal, okay, so you're going to have some sausage, maybe some chicken sausage, you're going to throw some veggies in there, maybe some diced up potato or sweet potato. Anything that you consider a sheet pan meal, I think translates really easily to a griddle as
Yeah.
well. So we do a lot of that. In fact, speaking of the fried rice, we actually have a video on the RV Miles YouTube channel from 2020 that is maybe 2 or 3 minutes long. It's still up, of Jason making Spam fried rice. And you can go over there and you can watch it.
Was that Spam fried rice or was it Spam and ramen? I think it was Spam and ramen, which is another meal that we like to make.
Either way, it just involved Spam.
It was Spam and ramen.
Spam,
Yeah.
Spam
Because
fried ramen.
Now I remember.
Spam,
Yeah.
but you can go, I'll try to remember to
Yeah.
link it in the show notes and the description. So rvmiles.com/375 if you want to see it. But
And I would even make the ramen noodles on the griddle. So I have no issue setting a pot of water to boil on
Yeah.
the griddle. Like you can do stuff like that pretty easily, especially if you've got a bigger one.
absolutely. So it's really versatile, and it's something that we have loved to use over the years. Now, the way this Weber experience fell into our lap was quite unusual and really awesome. Like just because they happen to be just
Yeah.
only a couple, the HQ is only a couple of hours from us. If you didn't know, Weber is based just kind of in the suburbs of Chicago. They've got a great Weber Grill restaurant in downtown Chicago, which to date is some of the best salmon I've ever had. And I am talking like I had this salmon probably 20 years ago.
They cook
I
on
was in
charcoal
yeah,
in the
I
restaurant.
was in college. My parents were in town.
Well, I'm going to give you a salmon recipe in a little bit because I had some of the best salmon I've ever had up at the Weber
It's a salmon competition.
headquarters. More in a moment, but first, this episode is sponsored by Liquefied RV Toilet Tank Treatment. Eliminate black tank woes with Liquefied RV Toilet Treatment, the ultimate enzyme-based solution for RVers. Their powerful formula simplifies waste management by breaking down solid waste and toilet paper, erasing foul odors, and ensuring smooth tank dumping. Liquefied removes buildup on sensors for accurate black tank readings. It's biodegradable and safe for all septic systems, contains no formaldehyde, making it safe for pets and children, and is made in the USA. You can find Liquefied at liquefiedrv.com. Harvest Host is a membership that allows RVers to take a rest from the road and enjoy unlimited overnight stays at over 5,000 unique locations in North America, like breweries, farms, attractions, wineries, and much more. Easily plan and book your next RV trip and enjoy over $1,500 in exclusive member benefits by joining Harvest Hosts. Get 15% off your first year of membership with the code MILES. That's MILES. Go to harvesthost.com to become a Harvest Host member today.
So let's talk about the experience there because you mentioned that salmon, you mentioned that Weber owns Blackstone.
Ye-
But up until recently,
Yeah,
Weber has not itself gotten into the
they've had
griddle.
some griddles, but they've really sort of dove into it recently. So this whole thing, it sounds like one of those things. We get invited often to sort of like these social media events where they want you to come and do some content around social media. This was not that. This was like most of the other people there were chefs or like restaurant chain owners or like the head chef for a big Chicago restaurant group. So it was really cool to be sort of in that crowd, and they're just like demonstrating this stuff. So Weber has a new line of griddles. They're Slate griddles. And most of them are sort of the stand up, like, this is what you're going to have in your backyard. They're giant and really nice, but they do have a couple portable ones. The Slate portable grill, and I'll talk about, some of the pros and cons of those in a minute. But this event was basically to sort of show these off and let us cook some recipes on them and meet Steven Raichlen. So Steven Raichlen is just really famous in this world, in the world of barbecue grilling and grilling, and he sort of did a little presentation to talk about griddling and how he came around to griddling, because in the world of people who grill and mostly grill on and barbecue on wood and charcoal, sometimes people thumb their noses a little bit at griddling. So he talks about how he got into it by like wanting to cook like $110 piece of Wagyu beef, and knowing that if he put that on the grill, all of that great fat in there would just fall through, light on fire, and burn the thing up.
Yeah, that's how we got into it too.
So he tells the story. He goes through some of the recipes and ideas in his book and gives some tips. And then we go outside at Weber, their headquarters. They've got the original Weber grill there, the original kettle grill. His last name is Steve. It's the Weber Stevens Company. The guy that invented the kettle grill and owned Weber, his last name is Stevens. The family's still involved heavily in the company, but the Weber company was a metal fabrication company that produced these for him first, and then he bought the Weber company and kept the Weber name. So they have the grill there that he hated that caused him to invent the kettle grill, and then they have the original kettle grill, which was designed after a buoy, by the way. So it was really cool to see that stuff. And then outside, they have this big test kitchen. And then outside, they had all of these griddles set up. They said normally they have grills just out there all the time. And all their employees just will grill their lunch and stuff. Incredible.
Amazing.
But they moved all those out, and they put up a bunch of griddles out. These had these stations for us to cook some some recipes, and the recipes are from Steven's new book called Project Griddle.
And we should say that Weber is not aware that we're
No,
doing this
they
episode.
didn't ask us to do any content.
We don't have any Weber. He didn't come home with a griddle. We don't have anything. This was just, and I think we need to give I want to give just the tiniest bit of backstory on your love of Steven in his influence. So you knew going into it that Steven was going to be there and kind of had an idea of.
I didn't really know why or what.
Right. We didn't really know why, but you did kind of know he was going to be there because he has a very long relationship with Weber.
Yeah.
But when we lived in Chicago before we got on the road, we were in a 3-story brownstone. We lived on the 2nd floor. And in the back, we had a courtyard that was shared by all of the apartments. And Jason owned this most ridiculous, it was enormous smoker.
So it was a big horizontal barrel smoker.
Yeah,
Huge.
out in the back courtyard. And
I could probably fit like 4 turkeys in it.
Which we at one point attempted. And we used to watch the PBS show all the time. And we had his cookbook, which I'm pretty sure is probably still in storage.
The Barbecue Bible it's kind of a really famous book for a lot of people. Like there's a Facebook group, I guess, of people that are cooking through it. It's 500 recipes.
That's incredible.
And they're cooking, through it from beginning to end.
So we had the smoker that I used really regularly, and it was also a grill. So we had a lot of uses for it. To the point where we were the people you called if you were our friends and you needed something grilled or smoked, because we weren't afraid to haul that thing 4 stories up to a rooftop at somebody's house.
Yeah.
Because we did do that.
We did that. We hauled it up,
that's how much
ropes. We hauled it up ropes up the side of a building. And it was a 4th of July cookout. And we cooked a goose on it, a pork butt, 8 racks of ribs, and corn and all sorts of stuff all day long.
I think I was pregnant with Jack.
You were.
I was pregnant with Jack, so this would have been 2007.
Yes.
And this was, Jason loves grilling. Jason loves to smoke things. Jason loves to grill things and griddle things. And it's one of the reasons why I love having these smokers or these griddles or these grills around, because they bring him joy, but also they bring me joy because it's less cooking I have to do. And I love that because Jason is so good at it. I do not, and I want to stress, we do not recommend tying ropes around your smoker and hauling it 4 stories to a rooftop for 4th of July. But if you do, just know you will be the most popular person at that party because you will be bringing an incredible amount of delicious food with you. So that is kind of our experience with this sort of cooking lifestyle.
And with
very,
Steven,
very long.
I cooked a lot of Steven's recipes on that smoker.
I can see that man's face so clearly on the cover of that.
Well,
cookbook.
and I was, even before I started teaching, I was spending a lot of, the theater industry doesn't do a whole lot in the summers. So we had a lot of free time in the summers. So we would watch PBS cooking shows all the time. This Old House and everything.
We were old before being old was popular.
I did that. I did that in high school.
We were knitting and making sourdough before all y'all millennials were even thinking about it. So you get to see Steven.
Yeah.
And he has this cookbook. And we've been looking over this cookbook, and I'm going to grab it really quick for those of you who are watching to show. So it's called Project Griddle, which we'll also put in the show notes if you want to take a look at it. But this right now is top contender for the 2026 mile marker cookbook.
Yeah, and not just because RVers like to griddle, and you don't have to griddle stuff.
No, you could.
Everything that you can do on a griddle, you can do in a frying pan, right?
Yeah.
And
exactly,
it's just outside and more room. And what's really great about this book, though, is that most of these recipes are like 4, 5, 6 ingredients.
Jason is notorious and famous for griddling pineapple. And I'm looking at this photo right now at the lead photo for desserts.
Me on to that.
I know he did.
And it's not just he does a pineapple, like a peppered pineapple.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So this is the top contender for 2026 mile marker cookbook because for those who don't know, if with our mile markers, our support community, we do a cookbook every year. So for 2025, we've been cooking through Make It Easy, which is from Danielle Walker. I am a huge fan of Danielle Walker. She's a paleo cooker, gluten-free, not, dairy-free cooking. So it feels right for 2026 that we should do someone that Jason has really had a lot of respect for over the years. So this is a top contender for 2026. If you want to join us to cook through that cookbook, of course, you can just become a mile marker member, just rvmiles.com/mile markers. So y'all got to cook out of this.
Yeah. So I got to cook on the new Weber Slate griddle. I got to cook on one of the portable ones. They had other people on the other ones. One thing I do, if you're a griddle person, you've griddled before, you might know one of the annoyances with griddles can be wind. The wind really gets under there.
Yeah, wind is a big problem.
It can make it, even a light wind can make it hard to get up to a good temperature. And I think Weber's really solved that. They put these rails around the outside that still have vents in the top to allow the airflow. So this Weber Slate, I really like. It's the one I was on was only 17 inches, but it was significantly deeper than the 17-inch Blackstone.
Nice.
So there's more space, which that's why I was talking about that whole measurement thing. But so we cooked several recipes. I just want to give you, I want to run through one of them with you and give you a couple other tips about a couple other ones. So the one that I really loved that we did was the candied salmon. It was salmon crusted with brown sugar, maple syrup, and mustard.
It's salmon and sugar, basically. It's just with like a little bit of tang in there with the mustard.
All you do, you got a nice salmon fillet. You get the griddle nice and hot. You salt and pepper the salmon fillet on both sides. You dredge it in mustard. In a ton of mustard.
Are we talking yellow mustard, brown mustard, Dijon mustard? What mustard?
Dijon mustard.
Dijon mustard. Okay, so we're talking Dijon.
Coat it completely in Dijon mustard.
Fancy mustard.
You're not like slightly painting it on with a brush or whatever. Put a disposable glove on and just get it all over that.
So
thing.
You're saying this is not the elegant gray poupon that we are all.
You need a lot of it.
You need to just. You're gonna have to go get like a vat of Costco Dijon mustard.
Yes.
Okay.
Then you dredge it in brown sugar. So this is almost like you're frying chicken, but you're dredging salmon in brown sugar.
Wow.
And then you plop it on the griddle, cook it for 4 minutes or so on either side. You're going to put a dome over on it. This is a real big tip for griddling. If you don't have a griddle dome, get one. They're really great for getting the heat to the top side of the thing. Right? Whatever you're cooking on the griddle, you just put that dome over it. They're great for melting cheese onto burgers. You got a burger, you're done cooking it. You want to melt the cheese on it. You throw that dome on there, maybe even squirt a bit of water under there to steam it.
Smash burgers are so good.
So a dome really helps this cook. But 4 minutes aside, pull it off, and then you drizzle the maple syrup over it. And it's incredible.
You all need to understand that this is Jason. I mean,
but
this is Jason's jam. We are talking sugar on sugar.
I'm sorry. I forgot to mention, though, you're cooking this in a ridiculous amount of butter.
Oh, right. Yeah. I remember when you told this to me, and my first response to you was, so neither is this healthy or...
So they had prepared these trays for us of like all the ingredients, and they cut up pats of butter. When we see a recipe with a pat of butter, what do? You take the stick and you slice off the little 1/8-inch piece.
No, I'm thinking
a pat of butter is an inch long.
I'm thinking a tablespoon. So, when you cut a tablespoon of butter off,
their
use
version
the little line.
of a pat of butter is a quarter stick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So two tablespoons.
It had to, I'm sure it was absolutely delicious.
So incredibly good.
Yeah.
So incredibly good.
Steven signed the book for you.
See, he did.
He took a picture with you.
It was great. And we made a few other recipes. I won't get into those other than to give you two ideas. One was the smashed potatoes that we did, the recipes in the book, but it was like you pre-cook the potatoes for like a small potato for a few minutes in your microwave, smash it on the griddle, and finish it that way with of course copious amounts of butter and some seasoning.
Of course.
And then while we're eating, because this is a big banquet that we all made for ourselves to eat, and then they added some stuff to it. while we're eating, they go out to the griddles and they take the griddle domes, right? These big aluminum domes, and make popcorn on the griddles for us.
But not just regular
So
popcorn,
no,
of
of course,
course.
but I mean it is regular popcorn, but they zhuzh it up a bit.
Yeah,
So
it gets bougie
so
popcorn.
all they did was put some oil on the griddle, put the kernels on the griddle, put the dome over it, and then you wait for it to pop. It's, you hear it pop and it fills up the thing, and then they hit it with some cinnamon and sugar.
How fun is that though
Yeah.
with like the kids at the
Yeah.
campground? Like I can see how much Henry would love that. He would to hear it all popping underneath there and then to lift that up and have popcorn there. I got to taste some of that because you did bring it home. I didn't get to go to the event, but you brought some of the popcorn home and that was delicious. So that was kind of your very enjoyable day out of Weber HQ.
So fantastic. And
And
I think it has me hope. I hope that this griddle is a great travel griddle. We do have an issue where we don't feel like any of the griddles that we have owned really have lived up to the rigors of travel.
yeah, so maybe let's transition a little bit into talking really quickly about some of
Yeah.
the issues we've had in the past with grills. Now, you addressed one already that Weber has addressed, hopefully,
The
in their new
yeah.
design, and that is how wind can be such a huge factor, especially if you are out in the Southwest, out in the West. I mean, I can't tell you how many
Dust.
domes we've like little walls we have constructed over the
Yeah.
years around our griddle to try and just get a little bit of
Oh,
heat.
and people have come up with stuff that they sell now. There's all sorts of ways that people have dealt with this. I don't know how safe they are, but
Yeah.
there's ways, and
We talked a little bit about the size of them, the annoyance of
Yeah.
how they're measured. It sounds like with this particular travel Weber one, they've kind of taken in both width and depth.
it's more square
Size
than
matters.
wide,
Yeah. Even heat,
Yeah.
that can be a little, and that kind of ties in with the wind a little bit, how difficult it can be to get an even heat on the griddle.
Yeah, and how many burners it has too,
Yeah.
because like the 17-inch Blackstone is a single burner. They showed us, they took one apart and showed us how they do the burners. And the little holes where all the flames come out of,
Mhm.
right? Normally those would be just sort of evenly spaced, right? So what they have done is like scientifically like put the distance and the amount of holes to evenly spread out the heat on their griddles
Oh,
as
wow.
much as possible. And they did like thousands of pancake tests to make sure that they have like as even a heat as possible
I
on their griddles.
The pancake is the ultimate test of a heated
Yeah.
surface. Another one we talked a little bit about this one too. So when they're attached to the RV, so when we had our Ibex 20 BHS that we traveled with in 2023, it came with a griddle that you could attach to the side of the RV itself. We ended up really hating that because for two things, it was positioned at a weird height. So if you were anyone shorter than Jason is 6'1", you basically were cooking this thing at like shoulder height.
Well, that's my issue with outdoor kitchens in general.
Yes,
It's like
we've talked a lot about that over
the
the
angle
years.
of the campsite could make you cooking, with your elbows up at your shoulder
You're
level.
like, is it done yet? And you're like peeking up over there to look. Also, it would splatter grease onto the rig itself. So we had to be really mindful about that and clean that off on a pretty regular basis. So that was, it's just not something I think outdoor kitchens in general just aren't for us. But I think that even really hooking something like that to the side where there's real no protection from you're making these burgers and you've got grease that's splattering up and all over the rig, or you're making bacon or whatever that might be.
It's just way better on a picnic table
Yeah.
or portable table, something that you can get away from your rig a little bit.
And then finally, just having a true travel version of these. And I would be interested to see how the Weber holds up on the road because these are rolling earthquakes.
Yeah.
And anything that's in it is experiencing earthquake-like movement while you're going down the road. And so we've had over the years with our Blackstones and with our griddles, you take them out from the bay or you take them out from the pass-through and they start to fall apart.
Yeah, and nobody for the longest time there wasn't there weren't great lids for a lot of them.
Yeah.
This new one has a good lid on it. I did suggest they put a latch on the lid. It doesn't have a latch on it to hold it in place because otherwise it's just bouncing.
Yeah.
And that's the issue that we have is like the lid or whatever's on top of it would end up scraping off the seasoning as it would bounce down the road. The one we have now that's on that sort of big scissor base, that base is falling apart.
It's
The little
frustrating.
bolts and nuts are falling out of it. And it's just not ideal. And I still think like the 17-inch original Blackstone we had was probably the best one for the road, but it didn't have a lid. It didn't have anybody cover it. And you had to like put it in a bag that you bought separately for it.
Well, I think it's really cool that Weber invited an RV creator to come and take a look, because that point that you made right there about, hey, I suggest putting a latch on, because they're looking at these travel versions as what they're calling them, a travel version. So having the perspective of someone who uses items like that when they travel on a regular basis, I think is a really, really cool thing that industries are starting to do outside of just the typical RV sphere, camping sphere that we all live in.
Because it's not just RVers, it's car campers, it's tailgaters, people that just want to go have picnics at a park or whatever. A lot of people are all of those things. We cook on
As
our griddle
RV.
when we're not RVing, and I think look, the Weber they had an idea that RVers griddle some, and that there's been this big craze and all.
Maybe when they look at their Blackstone sales,
I tried
they have
to
an idea.
instill in them the level of not only folks at campgrounds who are griddling, but RVers also own seasonal sites and permanent sites that they have these amazing outdoor kitchens at.
They also have homes.
They have homes, and the type of people that would own a RV are typically the type of people that like to cook outside and would have multiple grills and griddles and big old things to cook on. So I think it is a really big market for those folks.
And we're seeing it more and more too. I mean, to that point, we just put out on the RV Miles YouTube channel a video highlighting fall camping, tailgating, and RV items that you can find at Costco still. I mean, here we are moving into what is typically the end of the season, and we're still seeing major retailers catering to those kinds of outdoor activities and that kind of lifestyle, because it is becoming a year-long thing now. There is sort of this idea that people are trying to use and spend time outdoors just beyond this short little summer window that, a lot of us get, and really trying to extend that season. And so we were amazed. We put one of those Costco videos out in the spring. We were amazed when we were there at how much stuff was new to the season that applied to the RV lifestyle.
And one of the things that they are selling at Costco right now, and have been for most of the season, but weren't when we did the first video, is the new portable Blackstone griddle, which tries to solve some of these things. Unfortunately, it has one huge flaw, is that the griddle surface is not the steel griddle surface that we're all used to. It's actually a non-stick aluminum that the one that was at the store was already scratched. So it's not something that I'd recommend, but
you can go take a look at it.
But you can take a look at it, But I would love something like that. I don't care that it's heavy. That would have a real surface on it. Fantastic.
So we would love to hear what your experience has been over the years with griddling. Of course, we love when this becomes a two-way conversation between us and you, and we know what you like to cook, what you do or do not like. Do you own one? Have you owned multiple? Leave a comment if you watch this on YouTube, or feel free, if you're listening to this, to come talk to us over in the RV Miles Facebook group. We are very, very genuine when we say that we really like to talk to you guys about these topics that we share here, because we like to learn and are just as curious about how you do your RV life as maybe you are about how we do ours. So please find us out there in the interwebs. We would love to chat with you.
That's it for this week's episode of the RV Miles podcast.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, if you are enjoying the show, we hope that you will we hope you will subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you listen to this, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts makes all the difference in the world. So thank you to all of you who continue to join us week after week. And please stay healthy, get out there and do some griddling, and keep logging those RV miles.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.